Good morning, Rabbi Sai. L'ilui Nishmas Yumi Feig Mordechai. Zoom out on this oilum at 5:30 a.m. Wow, Famish. Okay, so it's a little empty. But imagine the amount of people that got up at 5:30 in the morning is crazy. So Rabbi Sai, this is going to be a very exciting shir. Geschmackes Sugyos. I have to warn the parents that we have an adult type of sugya the last 10 minutes of today's daf. Of course, that's it's going to be very geschmack. Anyway, hayoim chamisha u'shloishim yoim shehem chamisha shavuos ba chamisha u'shloishim yoim shehem chamisha shavuos ba imer la imer. The item's tired. What do you say? There was a missile that's coming in now?
No, in
the middle of the night. There was a siren here?
It was everywhere but Beit Shemesh, one of those different.
Oh, so it has nothing to do with the learning. You just ruined it. Okay, so what we're about to hear is going to be an MDY classic. You're here live. There's a lot of people. First of all, I want to introduce a bunch of people. Shalom Aleichem, what's your name?
Sidney Elman.
From where?
Lebanon.
Lebanon! Wow! We got a guy from Lebanon. Unbelievable. All the way from Lebanon. We never had a guy from Lebanon. From Sydney?
Brooklyn, New York.
Well, your accent is not from Brooklyn. So where are you originally from?
I'm born in Lebanon.
You should have said Lebanon. It's much more. Let's do it again. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name?
Sidney Elman.
From where?
Lebanon.
Lebanon! Wow! We got a guy from Lebanon. Unbelievable. All the way from Lebanon. You got the editors just caught that first. Unbelievable. We have a guy from Lebanon. We never had a guy from Lebanon. And you, what's your name? Dr. Epstein? Where are you from? South side of Chicago is much more dangerous than Lebanon. Much more. They call it, what do they call it? The Chirac. So what's your name? Mitchell? Elman. Shalom Aleichem. You have a proper.
He's Murad's Chavrusa.
Oh, really? Wow. You're not the original guy that learned with Murad because of Murad. You were learning with Murad when Murad started MDY?
No,
sorry.
started like 4 or 5 months since his daughter got married.
Oh, wow. Shalom Aleichem. Send them regards. And you?
He's our translator.
Translator. Very good. Who else do we have? Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? You just drove in from Yerushalayim. I saw you getting out of a car. So you had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning? Kol hakavod. Wow. So boys, look at the camera work. I just want to show you the camera work. It's Dave. Dave's on the camera, gewaldig. And who's over? Oh, Shalom Aleichem. Wie heißt er? Shlomo David Klein. Von wann? Yerushalayim, gewaldig. Okay. So Rabbi said before, instead of,
Also more dangerous in Lebanon.
You're Eli's friend. You're here because of Eli. Okay, we're going to introduce Eli in a second. And just remind me your name again? Sender Levine. Sender once came. He told me that he flew in all the way from America to meet me, so to tell me that I should ask me if I could please do a Mishnah Berurah shir. Yeah. And then he went on a safari right afterwards, right? MS. All right. Rabbi Isai, I want to introduce you. A few days ago, Eli Silber sat right in this seat. And after davening, he told me a story, and he kept on going, and the story kept getting better and better. I said, listen, you got to come back and tell it to the Oilams. He said, no problem. He's very brave. Eli Silber. The Oilams mamish anticipating. Shalom Aleichem. Let me just put this on, and then we could go to safari. Go. The story is very, very long, and I was very, very impressed. But tell me about, how long ago did you start doing the daf?
Tanas Daf Beis.
Loud, nice and loud. Tanas Daf Beis. Eli Silber, born in?
My name is Eli Silber. I was born in Borough Park. Moved to Monsey about 21 years ago with my family. And I started the daf when I was in Chavayim of Monsey through Mo Landy. There's a kid of Mo Landy. Started Tanas Daf Beis. And while I was doing the daf for the day, I was doing back pay, like unemployment, because to catch up with the daf, you guys are ahead of me, like a year ahead. So I wanted, when it comes to the Siyum Shas, I also finish the same time. But for me, it's not about finishing, it's just about learning every day. in yeshiva, in Cheder, I didn't have any geschmack. I was always outside the classroom, always in the principal's office or elsewhere. I never ever learned. It's the first time I'm learning. So when Mo called upon like a little chabira on a Thursday night, I went over and the first thing I saw was Rebelli bumping out of a TV. It was I was
What's the
so
word
taken
again?
aback.
Bumping?
Bumping, pumping out.
Bumping.
And I was taken aback, taking a TV, a 75-inch TV, and kosherizing it through the shir. So I was hooked since then, and I just want to say, I don't do the daf inside. That day that I came here, 2 days ago, it's the first time since Tana's Daf Beis that I did it inside. I did the whole journey that I was doing for the last 3.5 years was on YouTube. So there's a lot of people that work 10, 15, 18 hours a day, and they say the classic, oh, I don't have time. It's not true. You make time for what's important to you. If it's important, you'll make 5 minutes. You don't have to do the whole shir. Do 5 minutes a day. Now, I wasn't always religious. I was religious, and then I had a journey. Everybody has their own journey. And I went off in certain areas of my life, and I struggled with keeping Shabbos for 18 years. Now, Shabbos, some people have a connection, some people don't. Now, there's not so many people here, but there's a lot of people out there. And it could be a mother, it could be a grandfather, it could be a son, your daughter, a brother, a neighbor. It could be anyone. Male, female, it doesn't discriminate like other stuff, unfortunately. What I'm trying to say is, don't judge someone because you see him get out of a car, smoking a cigarette, vaping. You never know. The whole journey that when I started the daf, I wasn't so religious. I wasn't just using my phone. I was driving my car on Shabbos, but I was still connected to the daf. And as crazy as it sounds, I would drive my car to places or to Asida or whatever, but if I didn't finish the daf that day, as crazy as it sounds, I would finish the daf in the car on Shabbos. Now, it sounds crazy, but at the end of the day, the daf kept me connected. And even though I've been through different challenges, very big challenges in my life, the daf literally brought me back to life. And it gave me chiyas from keeping the daf journey. Also, there was a time in my life I had to put the daf on hold for a very, very long time, almost a year. It took me 90 days to catch up. And while doing the daf for the day, I was doing, like I said, back pay. I finished bruchnius on my own while doing the daf, and I'm in the middle of Shabbos. And I know Kabul Satoida on Bak Sinai was on Shabbos. We slept through. And I'm trying to finish Shabbos, the COVID Kabul Satoida, which is on Shabbos. And Rebelli said a couple of dafim ago that this is going to be the 18th Masechta finishing, whatever, and Chai is living. If you're not living, then it's not alive. So this Shabbos is going to be my 18th Masechta, and without Shabbos, you're not living. So I'm so grateful that the daf really gave me the chiyas to keep learning, keep steiging, and with kashrus, and this year, I finally I went to a place where I feel at peace in Boca Raton where I live, on a bench with the water. It's godless. And I talked to Hashem. I said, I want to get married this year. And I said, without Shabbos, how can you get married? But if you give me Shabbos, I'll be a Shabbos advocate for other people and help them with the journey, because there's a way to do it. It's not can't do it overnight. And that's why it's hard for me to speak in public. I never do, I never did. but I'm doing it if it's going to help one person, even one. It's worth it. It's worth the bishes and the getting called out for the last 2 days, like that I'm going to come. I don't like that, but it's okay. I'll do it. But I just wanted to say that if you think you can't learn, if you think you can't do it, wherever you are, whoever you are, call me. Trust me. There's a way. And I just want to say, like, you're worth it. You could do it. And remember that start slow, and your neshama is going to pull you for more. Hatzlacha.
First of all, one little piece that you told me is that on your flight from America to here, tell them, what did you do on the flight?
I forgot.
It's not, no, there's a lot we spoke about. But on the flight, tell the Olam, you're Talmud of Mo Landy.
So on the flight here, I was sitting next to another bocher, and I didn't even know him. And I asked him, you learn every day? What do you do? He works, sales. Do you learn? He's like, no, I don't have time. Classic. So I'm like, you don't have time for 5 minutes? He's like, there's no time. Then we broke down his schedule, and he saw 5 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. And he's like, what are you doing? What do you learn? So I said, to the daf. He's like, you're going to learn on the plane or you going to watch a movie? I'm like, no, I got a new Netflix. You know? I'm on season 17, episode 14. Episode
18.
Yid Aleph. It was Yid Aleph then. Like
no, but on this flight,
11 on the flight. Yid Aleph was on the flight. One sec.
Oh.
And I'm going to do Yid Aleph, and I have to catch up on Shabbos if I want to finish Roshiyas. I know, 6 blocks together, all together. He's like, yeah, 6 blocks, kapana. Watch me. First, we're going to chill, we're going to schmooze, we're going to vibe, then we're going to learn. And I talk about that's 6 blocks, and at the end of the flight, he's like, now I'm thinking about it. You know?
Wow. Beautiful. Big inspiration. So, Lamaisa, through the daf, you started being Shomer Shabbos?
Through the daf. The daf pulled me back into Yiddishkeit, and like obviously there's certain things I worked on in my life that brought me back.
We're not going to give full credit to the daf, but a little bit.
The daf has major.
Givaldik. Rebelli Shkoch for being here. Unbelievable. It's a classic.
Just
Eli. Yeah. Hold on a second. Just to summarize. The guy watched the daf on Shabbos. That's all I get. In the car, on Shabbos. Unbelievable. All right, so tremendous daf today. We have to do the sponsors, and then we get into it. The Masechta is sponsored by Anonymous Hatzlacha bruchnius ubegashmius. Monthly sponsors: Leah Nishmas, Zechariah ben Moshe, Leah Nishmas, Yosef, Parnasa, Birevach, Tzvi, Nissim, ben Shoshana, Leah, Jeff's Gourmet, Los Angeles, Moshe Aron and Miriam Landy. Those are the guys. For Hatzlacha of all our children, you're one of their children. You hear that? You're one of his children. ActualEyes, in honor of David, Merkin of Eastern Union, and all Silver Spring daffers. Weekly sponsors: Yumi Feig, L'ilui Nishmas, Sheindel Bas, Rav Yechiel Michal Shalom, Yortzai Lak Ba'omer, L'Hatzlacha B'chol Anyanim. Daily sponsors: Mordechai Sapoznick, Lzaicher Nishmas, my grandfather, Yisroel Aryeh Sapoznick, Yisroel Aryeh ben R Avrohom Yeshayahu. He sponsored the pizza last night for the English here. May his neshama have an aliyah. May be Yosef for his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, the entire mishpach and all of Klal Yisroel. The Bergs. Zechariah Nishmas Hayeled. Mordechai ben Pesha Elka. May your neshama have an aliyah and your family have an achama. Lakewood live. What's he doing in Lakewood? He doesn't live in Lakewood. Wow. I thought you live in Staten Island. Yossi Kellner. What? He does live in, okay. Mazel tov in honor of the engagement of my dear Chavrise Mochi Stern. We have to do this more often, you're saying. 5:30 in the morning here in Yisroel. In honor of the engagement of my dear Chavrusa Mochi Stern to Sarla Hommel. Elana Price. Mazel tov, Chaver. Elana Price. L'ilui Nishmas Akiva ben Avrom. Mazel tov. L'bni Akiva ben Gigi. Kit Dalid. Al Siyum Mishnah. Meseches Beitzo. And the white kids, monthly, Kinnovation, Zechus for Fishel, Elana Akiva, Rivki, Mrs. Stefansky, Heart of the Month, Rush Leimov, Yonatan Netam, Beshev Bracha, for Zechus for Rebellion, the whole MDY staff, to continue to make Torah so enjoyable so many, in honor of Yossi Klein and Mark Ashkenazi for all the work they do. Rabbi say, Givaldik riddle, think about it. Somebody in the Hebrew Shir got it. We have a sugya about somebody who became Tamei in the Beis HaMikdash. He's in the Beis HaMikdash, all of a sudden he finds out that he's Tamei. What should he do? he must leave immediately. And if he hacks around over there, it takes his time, that's when he has to bring a carbon, he's chayev. So here's the riddle. You have two people who became tamei the same exact second. They stepped on the same exact rat. And they're both exiting from the same exact door. One of them is quicker than the other one. He ran out first. He got out first. The other one was slower. The one who ran out first, he's chayev a carbon. The one who got out second is potter. What's the answer? How's that possible? You hear? You did the sugi already? But that takes time to do shtachava. So he got out first and he did a shtachava on the way? I hear. Something better, much better. So we're going to see today that the guy who ran out, if he paused, it's like a shtachava, he stopped. He stopped for 10 seconds. The amount, the shear that we spoke about yesterday for shtachava, yeah. That's basically what he's saying. But even though he made it up in speed, he ran out first, he's still chayev because he made a pause. The other guy, he was consistent. He kept on walking, but he's very, very slow. The other guy is potter. So says the Gemara, Boy Rava. Basically, I guess you didn't answer. Okay, that is the answer. Where are we? I saw you pointing there. Daf Tes Zayin Amud Beis. Boy Rava. So now we have a series of questions that we remain in Teiku, Geshmaka stuff. Boy Rava, tzorch shehiyah l'malkus or ain't tzorch shehiyah l'malkus. This 10 seconds, 8 seconds, 5 seconds, call it whatever you want. The max that we got is like 8 seconds. We timed it to say the pasuk. If the Eidim tell you you're tamei, get out, and you don't get out, so you chayev malkus. Do you have a 10-second rule? 10-second rule. We said that in order to be chayev a carbon, you have to pause for at least 8 to 10 seconds. The malchus legemiri, but to get the malchus, we don't have a limud for that. We never learned that. Inside the Beis Hamikdash, we decided there is a concept of pausing. It doesn't matter whether you pause for after the Eidim warned you for Malchus, you also get the 10 second rule. Take Boy Rava, Tola Atzmoi Ba'avir Azor Maru. A guy's in the Azora, I don't know if you can see it right over here. Actually, it's not over here. It's a good thing I didn't show that. You're able to see? You're able to zoom out? Oh. He's over here. He steps on a mouse, and then he's able to fly in the air. How? It's very, very pashut. Here we have a picture of it. Here we go. Rabbi Isai, here we are. The reason why the blades are not turning because it's turning so fast. And captured the picture. It looks like it's standing still, but it's still. He's suspended in midair. So what do you do? Rabbi Isai, seriously, it's pashut to me that in 5 to 10 years people are going to be landing these things on the roofs. It's not even a shot. I mean, every other day you hear like they just shipped over 50 pounds from Gaza, 25 guns, this, that. I mean, they already have it. Amazon is using it. They just have to make it safer for humans. But it's the easiest thing to fly. Anybody, you don't even need a license, yeah? So, Boy Rava, when we said you have 10 seconds, the 10-second rule, it's 10 seconds that you could bow. Since you can't bow on that drone, you can't bow if you're being pulled up by a crane or whatever it is, they're not. But if you can't bow, then you don't have the 10 seconds. We learned when you're in the Azar, you get the 10 seconds. It doesn't matter whether you could bow, not bow. In other words, the Gemara is saying, is it the time? Is it the 10 seconds? Or it's the ability? It's like Kol HaRoy L'Bila sort of. You have to be able to be mishtachava. How long does it take to be mishtachava? It's 10 seconds. But you have to be able to. And if you can't, you're suspended in air, you can't do the shachava, so you don't get the 10 seconds. Birevach. Timei atzmi b'mezid mao. A guy takes a. Here, this was the chaval I didn't show before. Ooh, what's this? Oh, now we're talking. Oh,
Slow down.
he heard the hara. He heard the hara and he fixed it. We didn't have this last night. Here we go. So this is b'shoigig, right? He steps on the mouse. He's looking up and he steps on it. Oh, yeah. And the kids are amazed. It should have been like he kicked it. Next time. He sees it and he steps on it anyway. Why would somebody? Okay, fine. He doesn't. Let's say there's a mouse, so he picks it up to throw it out of the Beis Hamikdash. So he doesn't be amazed. Do you get the 10 seconds? B'mezid mao. Ba'onis gemir shia. We only have the 10 seconds when he does it by mistake. B'mezid lo gemir shia. And therefore what? Therefore, even without the 10 seconds, he should be chayiv. 10 seconds, the p'tur of 10 seconds is only when you do ba'onis. Only inside the azara, we have a 10-second rule. 10 seconds doesn't matter if you did it by mistake or by accident. Teiku. Boyer Rashi. Now, Rashi just says over here, it's a concept of imtim saloimar. In other words, if you say that in the drone case, this case right over here, let's show it again. In the drone case, you're not chayev. In the drone case, if you're not chayev, asks Rav Ashi, what about outside of the Beis Hamikdash where there's another case where somebody has to leave right away? And that's by a nazir. What happened? Here's a case, we didn't, all this art he did after Shabbos, within 2 hours. So this is an old one from nazir, the technology is different. This is a shita tevel migdal. A person is inside a box, and it's literally like this case. When he's closed up in a box, going over a basic forest, he's not tummy. But once the box is open, somebody else opened it, a skull hit it, whatever it is, now he becomes tummy. So, Nazir bekever, he's in a cemetery, does he get the 10 seconds or not? If you say that he's not chayev, but we're outside of the Beis Hamikdash, we're not in the Beis Hamikdash here. The Gemara is going to explain. Do you need 10 seconds? You get 10 seconds or not? Inside the Azara, we have the concept of 10 seconds. What happened was, the Edom said, hey, you're about to become Tameh, get out of the Beis Hakvaris. And he took his own time, he didn't listen. He went out less than 10 seconds. But he paused for 5 seconds. There was a pause. Had he ran out the second the Edom told him, so nothing. But he paused. Now, he didn't pause for 10 seconds. 10 seconds is too much. He paused for 5 seconds. Is the 5 seconds going to be mechayev him or not? It's about doing it by mistake. And by mistake, not about the azar, it's about by mistake. Something happened in a cemetery, in the Beis Hamikdash, you get 10 seconds.
In the cemetery case, that doesn't help the person. That's Elzor.
Yeah, but if he's metam himself on purpose, now he's chayav a korban. There's nothing to do with what are you saying there? What?
Moving oil does not help you in the case of.
It does. Shida teva migdal helps, even moving.
Flying over.
Yeah. I know. Shida teva. That's the sugya of shida teva migdal. I know what you're saying. You're saying about the plane, the v'chulu. Stop. There's a big shaila here, even for us. Rabbi Shomer came over to me after shir because I was going to talk about it anyway. We see that there's Kedusha in the Beis Hamikdash, and we're going to talk about it later. The roof's on top of the Beis Hamikdash. The roof doesn't have Kedusha, but all the ear space of the Beis Hamikdash, the Azara, all the way to Shemayim is Kaddish. And the Rabbin Paskins that the Makam HaMikdash has Kedusha today, and most places in Paskin like him. That's why going up to the Makam HaMikdash, you chayav kares. You got to be super careful. So flying in a plane right over the Mikdash is very dangerous because it hits the plane. It doesn't. That's what you're saying. It doesn't shield from the tumah, especially if it's metal, etc. Not tumah, the kedusha. So you have to avoid going over. But how much? If it takes you a millisecond to go through, so maybe you're not chayiv. But in terms of the kedusha, I once took a helicopter ride like around the Baruch Hashem. He said, "Oh, you're not allowed to go there." But if yes, I wouldn't have known. I would have gone over the Makam HaMikdash, looked at the Al-Aqsa. I'm on top. No, there's a problem. All right, says the Gemara, we learned to remind the Olam, here, this case, this little guy is inside the Beis Hamikdash, he runs out. But if he takes the long way out, as such, he goes all the way around, then goes around the corner, and then comes out, that's where he is chayiv. Omer Rava, K'tzar Shamru, Afilu Okev B'tzad Gudol. Okev B'tzad Gudol is a lashon that the Mishnah Berurah uses by when you take the 3 steps back. By Shemona Esrei, you're supposed to put your big toe by your ankle. Some people are super machmer and they do, a 14-step, 6 feet away. Okay, b'tzad the gudel, the heel. So a person that goes toe to heel, all the way out, even if it takes him, even if it takes him an entire day, he is potter. Where he goes, if he pauses, that's where he's chayv. This is also, by the way, the concept of Daf Yomi. 2,711 days, a little bit, just a daf a day. And today, just a daf is like, something you learn a whole month, but a daf a day, a little bit, an hour a day, and it always, before you know it, you finish a Masechta and another Masechta, and you finish the whole Shas. There are people that are sprinters. They go fast, stark, and then they burn out. The pause is where you become chayiv. The consistency, step after step after step, that's geschmack. So he has the shaila, Bayirava, Shiyis, Maushid Starfu. What if you do this? Oh, here we go. He's going slow, toe to heel, and then, no, this is not what I'm looking for. Next one. Hold on, let's see if I can find it. Not this. Here we go. Oh, you see 1, 2, 3, and he keeps on going. So it's only 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Now it's a total of 6 seconds. 1. So the 3 seconds add up to 10 seconds. He makes a bunch of pauses. As the Gemara of Leah. Rav himself said that if you walk out really slowly and it takes you the entire day, you potter. How could it take you the whole day? L'chayr, it takes you the whole day because you keep on pausing. But every time you pause, it's only for 5 seconds instead of 10 seconds. So you see that the seconds don't add up. So the Gemara, no, it's not a good raya because it's talking about a person who's going really, really slow, toe to heel, but he never paused even once. Abaye asked Rabba, and it's fascinating because I don't know, I didn't do a search, but dozens, probably hundreds of times throughout Shas, and then I found it in middle shir yesterday, 4 lines from the bottom of Amud Beis, is Havi Bo Rabba, and it says in the bottom, it says in the Hagoyis, it's Rava. All throughout Shas, where it says Rabba and Rava, they keep on switching back and forth. No, it's not Rabba, it's Rava. So there's a Gevaldika Rashi here that helps us a little bit. And Rashi says like this, Rabba bar Nachmani. It's the famous Rabba Nachmani, which is Abaye's stepfather, who taught Abaya. Shahaya Rabbi. So says Rashi, you'll never find in Shas that Abaya asks Rabba a question. That's what it says. You'll never see this lashon of Boy Minei from Rava. Boy Minei Abaya Mirava. It's only Boy Minei Abaya Mirava. Who's his Rebbe?
It's the point about yourselves. I mean, he's saying if you ever see Rava, it's wrong.
In the Boy Minei.
Yeah.
In the Boy Minei, yeah. Abaya and Rava were the same age. The Gemara says when they were kids, he asked them what's in the sky. So they were friends. He wouldn't ask us, they would argue all throughout Shas, but they didn't ask him a question. Boy Minei Abaya Miraba. What if the guy decided, let me go out the long way. My car's parked next to that exit. So I'm going to go the long way, but I'm going to make up for it. I'm going to run. I'm going to jog out. Instead of walking slowly, I'm going to run out. Actually, I'm going to save time. I'm going to be in the Beis Hamikdash less time than the short one, maybe. I'm just throwing it in. Or exactly the same time. Shir Gemiri. Do we say a certain amount of time? You have 20 seconds to get out, so it doesn't matter how you use those 20 seconds. Go out the long way. But even if he went out the long way, since it's it's the time that it takes you to go out the short way, and you went out the long way, you are potter. No. Go out the short, not the long. I don't care how long it takes you. Even if it's faster, it's quicker, you're chayav. B'ktsara potter, if you went out the short way, you're potter. You cannot go out the long way, even if you run. It says like this. Rabbi say, if you go into the Beis Hamikdash when you're tamei, what are you chayiv? Kares. The Gemara says in the Brisa that if you perform an avodah in the Beis Hamikdash, you chayiv misa b'dei shamayim. How's that possible? What's the situation? If you go into the Beis Hamikdash when you're tamei, you get kares, which is more severe. It kills your children also. So how's it possible if you perform an avodah in the Beis Hamikdash when you're tamei, you get misa b'dei shamayim? What's the chetimtzah? So one goes through it. If he didn't even pause, how could he perform an avodah? How do you do an avodah without pausing? So some people, you can come up with some ideas. How do you perform an avodah without pausing? No, anybody? Huh? What?
Enough of the mincha, there are avodas you can do that.
How do you pick it up? How do you stop to get it?
Like less than 8 seconds.
Zrikas Adam. How about Hatzlacha on the way out? Okay. So says the Gemara, and if he paused, Bar Karasu automatically gets the more severe one by pausing. So the Gemara says like this. This is the Raya. If there's a shear of how much time, we take a look. You're standing over here. There's 25 feet to the closest door. You have 10 seconds to get there. So you can choose and use the 10 seconds to go out a door that's 100 feet away. If you run. So he ran. He ran in the short way. He actually went out the right way. But he paused because he had extra time. He had 10 seconds. So he ran as fast as he can, did avoid it for 5 seconds, and he kept on running afterwards. So he did avoid it, took him 5 seconds, but the whole thing took him only 5 seconds to run out. He had 10 seconds total. So Meila is chayiv kares. He's chayiv misa b'dei shamayim. Why? Because he did an avodah when he was tamei. So that's he did. Again, we measured. From here to there takes 10 seconds. So get out in 10 seconds. So he ran. Took him 1 second to get to do the avodah. Then he did the avodah in 8 seconds. And he ran again and he got out within 10 seconds. So in terms of the shear of the time, he didn't go past his time. But he performed the avodah when he was tamei. For that you get misa b'dei shamayim, not cars. If it means if you're on a short route out, you got to go on the short route. You can't go on the long route. Now, if he paused for the avodah, he's chayiv kares. He actually, like you're saying, he went in the short route. But it didn't take him even a second. He didn't pause. What did he do? He did something like this, Rabbi. He said, here we go. He's holding a giant fork in his hand, and he flipped the burger as he's walking. He didn't pause. Okay, there's a little bit of a pause there. But let's say there's zero pause. As he's walking by, he turned it over. Ravuna, I said a silly joke, so I'll say it again. You don't have to laugh at it. You don't have to have rachmanas on me, but you got to say one or two. This guy was smoking 2 cigarettes. Leave that for. Oh, just left it. Guy's smoking 2 cigarettes. They asked him what's pshat. He says, one is for me, and one I have a brother in jail, so I'm smoking for him. Okay. The next day, they see he's only smoking one cigarette. What's pshat? He says, no, I quit. And I'm smoking for my brother. What's pshat? What does that have to do with here? No connection. Just by flipping the burger, just by flipping the meat on the mizbeach, you're chayiv. Why? What's the case? If it's a type of meat, it's so thick that if you didn't flip it over, it wouldn't burn out. So now that you flipped it, it completely burned. Pshit, of course, that's an avodah. But if this meat is a thin piece, it's not necessary to flip it. Without flipping it, it would also burn away. So what, you didn't accomplish anything by flipping it. A tremendous chiddush. It was going to burn to crisp in 2 hours. You just made it happen earlier. And by you flipping it, it happened in 1 hour. By you making it happen earlier, that is considered an avodah. Omar ha? The island is getting together with Chaburas in America. That is gewaldig. Halavai every day. Is this looks? What is it called? Lutsk? No, it's not. Oh, I got to tell you, I had an email here. I read it yesterday. Staten Island. So it said in the email from Eli Geller, he says, I want to tell you something. I heard the shir, and he spoke about Eli Silber, and he spoke about Rabbi Yashiv. So I want to tell you, you tell me if it's true. He says, Eli Silber's father was the main guy behind getting the doctor to, it's true, he's going like this, the doctor to come to operate on Rabbi Yashiv. So the fact that you said his name, Eli Silber, in the same time that you said the story, the same within a few minutes. So MS? Kiss from Hashem. Another kiss from Hashem. Some people call it kiss from Hashem, some people call it Ruach HaKodesh. It doesn't matter. It's all the fact that somebody has Ruach HaKodesh, kiss from Hashem. What? Sponsor. Turn it to the daf. He just ignored it. He went weiter. Turn it to the daf. In honor of our sons Kamel 12 and Yisroel 9 for learning Sanhedrin, Makas, and Shevuos with the Rebelli. Adar Global still exercising international financial services, anonymous in honor of the tzaddik, whose name we cannot say, who shows us what it means to be a giver and a tzaddik. This happens to me all the time. I don't want to say it. So I say, I don't want to say it. So this is no, say it. Just say. He says, I have something, a gewaldige pshat, but I'm scared. I can't say it. You're going to make fun of me. No, just say it. Okay, I'll say it. If a person walks into a house inflicted with saras, and he walks in backwards. Here we have a picture of the house. Oh, but let me not show it to you yet. It's geschmack. No. He walks in backwards into the Bais Menuga. His entire body walked into the house besides his nose. What's the Echetimtza? Here we go. Here's the Echetimtza. Here's the house. And he's walking in backwards. Geschmack. Oh, because the Hebrew didn't have that. I told him we got the door has to slam on his nose. How about that? Where's Benny?
He always leaves
The kids? Yeah, exactly. He got confused. He wanted to take his daughter to school at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's classic. Maybe he forgot his suitcase at home, something. He got up in middle of sharing, walked out.
He went to get bread for everyone, for everyone flying. He went to get
He heard this share last night. So.
food.
Listen, watch this. It's Mardik. If a guy walks in forwards, his nose is sticking out. That's the whole thing, right over here. And the door slammed on it. I got to do it again. Hold on a second. Let's do this again. This is Mardik. He walks in backwards. Okay. If he walked him forward, and 40% of his body's outside the door. Yeah? He walked in forward and 40% of his body's outside the door. Is he Tomei or not Tomei? Yes. Of course he's Tomei. Why? Yes. Rubai kikuloi. Stop cheating and tell me real pshat. Rubai kikuloi. You gonna tell me you didn't look over the daf before? No. Okay. But it's much better. Rabbi Aryeh, he walked in, he doesn't need his whole body. Rubai kikuloi. Over here, that his whole body is inside the house besides his nose. Oh, Rabbi, check this out. You might not understand pshat when you learn the Gemara later. So here's a guy that walks in backwards. I gotta say, walks in backwards, and his nose stays outside in the back. Yeah, you see, it's married. So over here is different, and I'll explain to you what Rashi says. Rashi says a beautiful cheshbon here.
Now he's going to join.
It goes like this. He's tahar, this guy. Why? It has to be derech bias or Torah. It has to be in a way that people walk in. That's not how people walk in. But I'm scared of my friends. What's the difference if the nose stuck outside or not? Even if the whole body's inside the house, but he walked in backwards, what should be the halacha? Tar, because he didn't go into the house normally. Not true, not true. So what happened was, Rabbi Shaya heard this from his Rebbe, this halacha, but he didn't know what Rabbi Shaya added is that I have a right to what my Rebbeim told me from the pasuk that has to be derech bia. But Rav explains it. Rav says, no, if the whole body goes in, then you're like a kli, like you're a vessel. What if a vessel comes in a bag? That's derech bia? No, didn't walk in, and it just happened to be there. Somebody put it on a counter, and the vessel is tamei. So a human being shouldn't be any better than a vessel. If the entire body is inside the house, you should be tamei. How do I know this? Because it says, the Torah tells us, listen, if you call a kohen up on the kohen hotline, to come over and check the house, get rid of everything in the house. Because if he comes there and he tells you that this house is a beis hamenuga, it looks pretty bad to me. I'm not a kohen, but these stones, red, green, it looks like an afflicted house of tzaras. If he tells you that it's a beis hamenuga, everything inside becomes tamei, including human beings. So listen to this cheshbon. Says Rashi, you're going to like this. Now this is the learning part. Let's just say Birkas the Torah quickly. He says like this. Walking forward is a problem. Why? Rubik Kulai. If you happen to be in the house, you flew into the house, and it's a beis hamenuga, you're tamei. So how in the world is it possible that if your nose is stuck outside, that you should be tired? There's only one echatimtza. If you walked forward, and even 40% of your body's outside, you're tamei, Rubik Kulai. If you're completely inside, even if you went in backwards, you're tamei. So the only echatimtza is, if one part of your body's outside, then you would be tar. Says the Gemara. Tanya Nami Hachi. We see another raya that it has to be derech bia, the way people normally walk. Gagan alalu ein oichlim sham kachi kachim. Avi, help me out here for a second. Let's just lift this up a little bit. No, not the whole thing. Okay. So in the Beis Hamikdash, there's a bunch of rooms, chambers that have roofs, like over here, on top of the heichal, wherever. We have a picture here, I think, here like this. You can see some of the chambers here, some of the rooftops inside the Beis Hamikdash. Those rooftops don't have any kedusha in terms of the azara. They're not considered part of the azara. Either in the airspace. No. The roof cuts it off. In fact, Tosfos says over here, we can put this down. So let's just see the Gemara first before we look at Tosfos. It says, Gagan alolu, these rooftops, you cannot eat, if you're a kohen, you can't eat a chatas on top of the roof. Why? It's not part of the azara. It's inside the azara? No, it's not part of the azara. And you can't shecht a carbon pesach, a shlamim, a taida. You can't shecht over there. Why? It's not part of the Beis Hamikdash. It doesn't have the kedusha of the azar. If a guy is jumping on the rooftops, he gets into the Beis Hamikdash through the top. He's not chayiv as a tamish that goes in there. Derech bia asr Torah has to be the normal way you walk in, not through jumping over the rooftops. Just to point out the Tosfos here, Tosfos says, "What in the noichlim the gang valiyas linskachu." Basically, we learned that all throughout Yerushalayim you can't eat a carbon pesach on a rooftop. So all rooftops you can't eat, you can't do anything on the rooftop in terms of anything that has to do with the kedusha. I'll tell you a real quick story from my father-in-law, and a lot of you know the story, but some of the new guys, especially the guys that just came for Shachris. My father-in-law was a head and neck surgeon, and one of the guys, they called him up in the middle of the night, they said, this guy's head is messed up. So he came, performed the surgery, of course he was unconscious and everything, and a few days after he woke up, so my father-in-law went to speak to him to see how he's doing, and he asked him what happened. He says, me and Johnny were on the roof in Chicago, and we were listening to music on one of these boom boxes, and they were very fashikit, they were drunk, and the boom box fell off the roof. But it got stuck and lodged between the two buildings. There were two buildings very close to each other. You have it in Birevach, like, let's say 1 foot, and it got stuck in the middle. So they had a brilliant idea. They said, they're going to tie this guy by a rope, and lower him down head first to get the boombox. He said everything was going great. And he was lowering him, it was going great, slowly but surely. But then the phone rang in the house. So he went to get the phone. That was that. So I thought that my father-in-law's stories are, my sister Kamatoyus. And then one day my father-in-law tells me, this is the guy that I told you about. So I spoke to the guy, he's a chief, one of the chief in the police department. My father got pulled over on Lakeshore Drive. It's a highway in Chicago on the lake. He's speeding. The guy says, why are you speeding? He says, I'm on the way to surgery. He says, I heard that excuse 1,000 times, that's why I'm going to double your ticket, I'm going to come up with other... He was very annoyed at him. So my father-in-law says, wait a minute. What's that lump you got on your neck? He says, are you messing with me? Because I'll triple it up. He says, no, I'm not joking around. I got to check this lump right now. So my father-in-law gets out of the car and he starts going like this. He starts feeling his neck and neck. He says, this is bad news. This is really bad news. You got to come with me right now to the office. I got to check this out. He says, I'm warning you, if you mess with me. He says, no. So the guy comes to my father-in-law's office, and sure enough, he had cancer, and my father-in-law saved his life. I spoke to this guy. He said, it's my Shevuos. He says, he thought he got off the ticket, and Hashem helped him. No, Hashem helped me. Like he's saying, okay. Huh?
What happened to the surgery that he was on the way to?
No, that was a joke, Zui mitzvah Rabbi Isai, we got another 5 minutes. Reb Nachum, have a seat, please. Tefillin comes afterwards. Oh, Rabbi Isai, here's that sugi I was talking about. So we learned that there's 2 ways to leave the Beis Hamikdash. There's the quick way, and that's what you're mechuyev to do. And if you take your time, you're chayev. So the Mishnah brings another example, and there's a few examples, but here's a good one, nida. It's the same concept, but in the reverse. If you take your time, you find out that the wife is a nida. So the halacha is you have to take all your time, you have to make sure that there's no hana. So you take your time. If you finish quickly, then that's when you're over, because you had hana. So says the Gemara, why would the Mishnah say zui? What are you talking about? What's zu? From where? Hasam kai. Hasam kai means we're talking about the Mishnah in Harius. Harius is just a compilation. What's the word? It's a place where people just gave their testimonies about random halachas, one after another. So it says like this. Oh, that's Adius. Huh?
Did you find it in the slide?
I did find it in the slide.
Yesterday's?
Yeah. No, it wasn't yesterday's slide. It was in a different one. I put in the wrong one. I found it. I didn't redo this. It wasn't in the slides. I was like, weird. I know that I have it. It's the same lashon here in this mission. We'll see it here. It's in Harius. This is in Harius. In other words, the Sanhedrin do not bring a carbon for something that's in the Beis Hamikdash. Eloisa saying the Beis Hamikdash. What happened? They said the wrong halacha. If they say the wrong halacha, they tell Klal Yisroel what to do, and it's wrong, they have to bring a bull. Not when it comes to this kind of tum in the Beis Hamikdash. Why? It's very simple. Because they could only bring a bull if an individual that did that avera, he has to bring a chatas. What does an individual that's tamei bring? A carbon, oile v'yored, not a chatas. So mela, the bezin doesn't bring a carbon. But they do have to bring on an asay, and when it comes to nida, then yes. Why? Because an individual in that case, if he finds out that his wife is tamei, he would have to bring a carbon chatas. So when the bezdin pasking the wrong thing, he said, don't take your time, be parish right away. They made a mistake in the halacha, they have to bring a par. And they have to bring Hashem Tali. You have to bring Hashem Tali, individual. Let's say and our Mishnah goes on that, on Harius, this is the type of mitzvah you have to leave right away. And what is one that you are chayiv and nida? Had relations with a woman who's tar, which is 100% mutter. And she says, I'm tamei. Perish miyad. So he thought that he's doing the right thing. He says, oh, she's tamei. I have to finish right away. Chayav. And that is chayav. Why? Because by him finishing, that gives him hana. And that hana is what you're chayav on. So what should he do? He should wait there a long time, until whatever time it takes, until He has no hana anymore. Itmar Abaya, Omar B'Shmei Reb Chia Barav, Chayev Shtayim. So this is fascinating. This person is Chayev 2 karbanos. Now, in order to be Chayev 2 karbanos, something has to happen here. Why? Because if a person needs 2 pieces of chaylev, one after another, and there's a pause in between the 2, how many karbanos do you have to bring? 1. So if a person is over on 2 isurim with a nida, in 1 helam, in 1 awareness, he should only bring 1. What's the ichatimsa that he's Chayev 2 karbanos? So now there's 2 things, there's 2 ideas here, and if you combine the 2 ideas, you have 4. You have a Talmud Chacham and Amaretz. Those are the 2 ideas. That's easy to remember. And then you have Veses and Shleiv Shas Vesta. In other words, a woman who sees Dam every month at the same exact day, so it's also to be with her at that time. The following month, he has to be mad for himself. So this person, now we have to know, was it at a time that he should have thought about it, that this might happen, or it wasn't a time that he should have thought about it? Now, if it's a time that he should have thought about it, it's before a Veses, is that a Shoigig or a Einus? Or maybe a Mazid? It's a Shoigig. Why? Because he thinks that he could finish before she become a Nida. Even though Midaraisi has to be Pirish from her, but that's a different Isser, not an Isser of Karas, not an Isser of Malchus. So says the Gemara like this. You have 2 karbanos, 1 for the start and 1 for the ending. What's the case? If it's mamish right before her veses, in other words, he should have been very careful and he should have been aware that this might happen. And who's doing this? So Talmud Chacham knows about the halachas of veses, and the Talmud Chacham knows about don't be pirish right away. Make sure that the aver is dead and there's no hana. So on the beginning, he should be chayiv on a carbon. Why? Because he's a shoygig. Why is he shoygig? Because he thinks that he could accomplish the whole thing before she becomes a nida. So, but he was wrong. So for that, you bring a carbon. Ela prisha amay lechayiv this gevaldik Rabbi. If he knows the halacha that he has to wait a long time and he didn't, and he waited for that, you don't bring a carbon. What is that? Amazing. You don't bring a carbon. Amazing. If this guy is mamish amaritz, he doesn't know anything, not the beginning, not the end, he doesn't know any halachas. So he should only be chayiv 1 carbon because he did 2 averes with the nida, the beginning, the end, but with 1 non-awareness. Chayiv 1. So maybe it's talking about a case where it's not, where he can anticipate that she's going to become a nida because it's not her vessels. If he's a Talmud Chacham, he shouldn't even be chayiv 1. Why? Aknisa anus. He had no clue she wasn't supposed to be a nida that day. So there's no carbon on that. It's a oinus, you don't bring a carbon. Aprisha, and on the end, mazid. So again, you don't bring a carbon. So 0 karbanos. Iba amaretz, and if it's amaretz, chodud mechayiv. Aprisha, the first is oinus, you don't bring carbon for that. But the second one, to wait, he didn't know you have to wait. He thought he's doing a mitzvah, he's stopping right away. So on that, you bring a carbon. And with this we finish. We're talking about it's close to her vessels, so you shouldn't anticipate it. He should have known that he shouldn't have been with her, and for that he has to bring a carbon. But he didn't know that you cannot be parish right away. You have to take your time. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. We'll see you from Africa. Yisroel.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.